I'm very wary about giving talks, primarily because we as filmmakers have this amazing ability of getting on stage and just rambling on and on. On a set, it's a paid crew, so they have no choice but to listen. Here it's a different story. But when talking to the organizers, they said it was 15 minutes, so I thought it would be fine. I made some notes. Unfortunately, there's no podium, so I was sitting here the last 5 or 10 minutes trying to retto what I had to say. So forgive me if it's a little erratic, but I'm going to do my best. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to tell stories. Summer holidays we spent with all the neighborhood kids, and I would just cook up a story. Sometimes it was something I'd just seen, something I'd just read, and just sort of put it all together, fabricate it, and churn out one. So it's funny that for someone who always wanted to tell stories, I took such a massive detour. 12 years actually. 4 years of BTech chemical engineering, 2 years in a master's, 6 years in a job. But eventually, I found the courage to do what I always thought I was meant to do, and sort of veered away from my job. This was back in the US towards the end of '96. And then I came down here and made Hyderabad Blues. I've always believed that films primarily need to entertain. If some message creeps in, it's okay. But I think it's just got to be a story that you sort of that the filmmaker takes you into a dark space, hopefully minus goddamn cell phones, and for 2 or how many ever hours he or she decides, takes you on this nice little journey. That's something I always wanted to do. So Hyderabad Blues was done, and I was sitting. It probably was my first interview. This was with a journalist, I think in Bombay, and she said, "Describe your film." And I started, and for those of y'all who've seen Hyderabad Blues, back in '97, if I told someone that I wanted to make a film at that time I had $40,000, so I wanted to make a film in $40,000, no name actors, about 82 minutes long. Of course, the length was dictated by the amount of money I had. Shoddily shot in 17 days, badly dubbed, and the clincher, no songs. I think it was absolutely professional harakiri. But sometimes in your naivete, without exactly knowing what you're doing, you step out and you do stuff. And then it works, of course. You have all these intelligent reasons why you did it, how you believed in yourself, and just stuck to your purpose. But the one thing, if I can take credit for, was just this madness to make a film. What that was going to be, what happened, I really didn't know. So sitting across the journalist and trying to describe to her what this movie was about, I said it's a movie about home. And they were like, I'm sorry. So then I said it's an indie film. And back in '97, the concept of all these wonderful monikers, the multiplex film, I think loosely we had art and commercial cinema. It still unfortunately exists, but so on the spur of the moment, completely by accident, I said, my film lies somewhere in the unexplored zone between art and commercial cinema. And at that moment, I thought it sounded really intelligent to me. So I had the journalist, write it down, and since then I've been using this quite a bit. But I think over the years, when I actually think about this unexplored zone, in my own naive way, I truly believe I fall somewhere there. It's something that really frustrates my producers and distributors, because every time I go with a script, and we sit down to talk about it. The way for people who are not in the film industry, the way it typically works is there's a very straightforward pitch. You say, it's a romantic comedy starring Akshay Kumar. Everyone's happy, everyone hugs, checks are signed, everyone goes home. But if you're trying to describe a film, okay, the second film, first one I made with my own cash, so I'm trying to raise money for Rockford. So if you're there and you're saying, it's a film about a 12, 13-year-old boy, and a coming-of-age tale in the West is very easily understood. So I tried that initially. It didn't work. So then you're trying to describe it, it's his experiences in a boarding school, and most of them are going, and you want me to put money into this? So it's something that I've consistently sort of enjoyed, this unexplored zone. When I make my films, and if I were to define the zone, I'd probably try and, to simplify things, I'd probably break it down into three categories. Genre, language, and a visual aesthetic, if you will. I'm going to try and draw on examples from my own films, primarily because it's the easiest to remember. Okay, genre. Like I was just saying, most of the times, even when the press tries to write about the films I make, sometimes I myself am confused. It's very hard to slot it in a genre. And I try very hard not to repeat myself, at least for the immediate film. For example, at Hyderabad Blues, when I had everyone throwing in money to make Hyderabad Blues 2, 3, 4, which I eventually did, at least 2, I chose to make a film about a boy in a boarding school. When that kind of worked, it was a satire about Bollywood with a white guy in the lead, but not a white guy spouting "Hum tumko janta hai man" or any bad dialogues like that, but a white guy talking his American English. Then came Teen Diwali. In the world of cinema, when you are slotted in a genre, most filmmakers are happy to be in that space because, like a job, it ensures some level of consistency. The moment a filmmaker pitches, they go, oh, it's such and such a film. I mean, you guys do it too all the time. It's a David Dhawan film. It's a Mani Ratnam film. So I've tried very hard, and it's not for self-glorification as much as I enjoy the process of journalists primarily, of not being able to slot my film. So even if it's convoluted, I would like the audience to be challenged, walk in, then decide for themselves. The second